we got a woke CNN gas bag. I'm sure he's a deep thinker. His name is Bakari Sellers. He's a CNN guy. He's got a new book coming out. Good, buy the book. He says that his white friends don't talk to him holistically. Okay, champ. Okay. I was looking up this guy. He's a thinker. We got us a deep thinker. He says on The View, guys like Ben Shapiro and Clay Travis monetize racism. Wow. Wow. Now, this talking point is also about Tucker Carlson, the name we took out. Oops. Ooh, I didn't read the last part. Sorry. Erase that. But anyway, so anybody that's white, according to this guy, and doesn't speak to black men holistically, why is it everybody's job to speak to black men, or why is it anybody's job to speak to white men holistically? I mean, hey, look, Reggie Jones, my buddy last night, was texting me. He was making fun of white guys because Isaiah Hartenstein is considered African-American. I told him, just give us one. You know what I mean? And then we were both, because we're both Pacer fans, we were talking about, well, you know, Pacers are getting out-hustled. I don't know is that holistically? Were we supposed to speak to each other holistically? That's what this idiot, not an idiot, he's probably a smart guy, but that's what this guy Sellers says. Oh, and then he's after Clay Travis because, well, any white guy that just doesn't get in the fetal position and say, I'm so sorry, here's reparations, I'm so sorry, oh my God, is an African-American. Black men care more about than just how to keep from getting arrested and getting our friends who are arrested out of jail. Well, no shit. I mean, really? This is to sell a book, of course. You have to talk to us holistically, this guy Bakari Sellers says. And my white liberal friends on the left and my white conservative friends on the right both do it poorly. So every time you talk to this jackass, you're getting judged by this jackass. What about just treating everybody equal? But anyway, that's not the point of this little segment. The point of this little segment is he goes after every white dude that doesn't get in a fetal position and kiss his ass. No, seriously, that's all this is about. You know, this is a guy that's selling race in books. This is a guy that has nothing going on other than that. He goes on CNN. Everybody sees it, man. Everybody sees Reverend Al money. Reverend Al money's good money. You don't have to pay taxes. You stay at the Four Seasons. You drink the best stuff, and you smoke the finest cigars. It's good stuff. But like my friend Reggie Jones and I, in speaking to one another last night during the Pacer game, why does he got to talk to me any differently and I got to talk to him any differently? But damn, man, if you don't cower, Ben Shapiro don't cower, apparently Clay Travis doesn't cower, oh, you're selling racism. What's this clown selling? What's this deep thinker selling? Really? He's selling one for all and one for all for one and one for all and all whatever the hell it is. My ass, here's this guy.
It's fear, it's grievance, it's all of these things, and it just permeates itself, and it manifests itself in hate. And the problem is that they have ads that play before and ads that play after. And you have these individuals, the Clay Travises of the world, the Ben Shapiros of the world, these people who don't necessarily have the intellect to have honest discussions, but but yet they're able to become millionaires because they're actually just circulating and promulgating this fear.
Man, he used a lot of big words, so I guess that means that he can have those discussions. And I love the woman in the back signifying. Oh, yeah. I mean, look, first, lady, shut the hell up and let the guy make the point. Second, I would argue that Clay's pretty smart. And I would also argue that dudes that dress up nice and use big words usually are hiding something. Mostly it's intellect. Sometimes it's a pee-pee problem. All right, here's Clay Travis's response to this, and I think most of us would agree with these responses. Here's response number one. Look, bless his heart, Bakari Sellers, who still won't say whether men should be able to play women's sports, just went on a View and said Ben Shapiro and I weren't intelligent enough to have honest conversations, and that's how we became millionaires. Well, I got to tell you, that was the start of this whole little feud between Bakari Sellers. Clay Travis simply asked him, should men be able to play women's sports? It's a simple question. But when you're all dressed up in your $10 suit and you try to throw big words in there, like guys, we've seen guys like this, white and black, for years. All you got to do is turn on the 700 Club, and you can see the Robertsons or whatever doing things like that. All you got to do is go to see your local preacher, and it's the same stuff, other than the guy at Traders Point who's really good. But anyway, so Clay Travis became a millionaire because of racism. Well, I got to tell you something. I'm very sensitive to racism. I am. I'm very sensitive to it. Have been my whole life. And I've not seen any racism here. Like, you guys go out of your way, or people go out of their way, to say, well, that didn't conform with the bottom line of groupthink. Thus, it's racism. That didn't conform with what an African-American pundit said. Thus, it's racism. I mean, it's the same old thing. It's no different than Patrick Beverley saying after the altercation with the Pacer fan, well, they said crazy things alluding to racism. That's all guys like this have. You try to say big words, you get in your little suit, you get an adoring audience, and next thing you know, you don't have a conversation. So why are Clay Travis and Ben Shapiro not intelligent enough? But, of course, you are, because, why? Why are they unintelligent? Clay just asked you a very simple question. I followed this exchange. It was a very simple question. Should men be allowed to play in women's sports? And the all the big words are permeating and pretend, and all the big words that this guy started to use didn't answer the question. And then it went back and forth to the point where this guy shows on The View, and next thing you know, he's smarter than everybody. But we must speak to him holistically, as a whole. I just get a kick out of it. It's like President Obama. I've said this before, and I'll say this again. I could not stand listening to George W. Bush speak because I'm just like, geez, he talked in certain rhymes. I could not stand listening to Obama speak because you think that everything Obama said he wanted printed on the side of a statue. It's just gibberish. I pay attention to what people actually say and how they say it. This guy's trying so hard to be smart, but he won't say why. Hey, the pretense of the biggest, okay, great. Why? Why is Ben Shapiro racist? Why is Clay Travis selling racist? What is he specifically doing selling racist? Here's another response from Clay Travis. I think you'd agree with this. Clay Travis says, even with my lowly intellectual capacity, I would go on The View and have a debate with the host. Would be incredible TV. Given my intelligence was just directly attacked by name on their show, it seems only fair to allow me on, let their audience decide of what to think of me. Yeah, it does. Wear a nice suit. Try to speak in big words and accuse others of racism and being stupid. It's amazing to me. That's all people have. When in doubt, close your eyes and say they're racist. Don't say why. Don't give examples. Just say they're racist. When in doubt, Hakeem the Dream or Bakari the Dream, whatever the hell your name is, close your eyes and say people just aren't as smart as me because I dress in a suit. And I try to use words, big words, poorly. But that's all right. I mean, 350 million people. Everybody's got a difference of opinion. But this all simply started by Clay Travis saying, what should an adult male be allowed to play women's sports? And this great intellectual, this sexual intellectual, which you used to call a effing know-it-all, see the correlation, sexual intellectual, effing know-it-all. Anyway, he had no idea. He can't say it because he's doing what guys of this ilk do all the time. White or black, they pander. They pander. They can't come up with answers. They can't come up with reasons. They can't come up with examples. But they sure the hell can pander. Now, right after George Floyd, if you pinned a racism label on somebody, people actually cared. But with so many clowns like this out there trying so hard with no evidence to pin a racism rap, it just don't matter no more. Hey, Brian Kelly of LSU, I love you. I defend you. You were my friend, good friend, childhood friend, Worm, a.k.a. Pat Battistini's roommate at Grand Valley State when you both were GAs. Okay, so I've always liked you. But don't try to BS the troops, as my father used to say. Don't even try. He's telling recruits, don't ask me for money to come here and play. Now, let me get this straight. So LSU is going to draw the line in the sand about paying players. LSU football. LSU as an institution who has to compete against the Mississippi States, Alabama, Auburn, Georgias of the world. I mean, damn, Georgia not only gives you money, they give you cars. And you go fast in those cars, and every guy on Georgia's team is basically ticketed, but I'm sure they haven't paid one of them. That's a payment. But you're telling me, this is what you're saying. Let me hear this. I got to hear this for myself, Brian Kelly.
The D-line, interior D lineman, where are you right now with that?
Well, I think I made it pretty clear in a number of the press conferences that I had that we were in the market in recruiting in the transfer portal looking for defensive linemen. It hasn't fared very well, quite frankly, because, we're selling something a little bit differently, and that is we want to recruit. We want to engage, build relationships. We want to develop, retain, and have success. We're not in the market of buying players, and unfortunately, right now, that's what some guys are looking for. They want to be bought. And look, I understand NIL is part of this, and we have an incredible collective. We have very, very generous opportunities around the greater Baton Rouge area for NIL opportunities. So they are here, but we're not going to go out and buy players. That's not what this is about. This was never about that. We will develop you. We will get you ready for the next step, as we did with Jaden Daniels, as we did with Malik Neighbors, as we did with Brian Thomas. We developed 3 defensive linemen that all got drafted this year, and we'll do that again. But if you're just looking to get paid, you're looking in the wrong place. If you like all the things that we do here in developing our players, bringing you into a championship program, playing in front of the best fan base in America, playing for championships, and having an opportunity for NIL, you should be a Tiger. But if you just want to get paid, this is not the place for you.
Yeah, every coach says that. You know what I mean? I like Mike Woodson at Indiana. I'm starting to respect what he's doing. He's just paying and not saying. And that's pretty good. Hey, look, man, we're going to get players here. We're going to pay the living hell out of them. We got a good situation. And we ain't talking about it. I always feel like he doth protest too much, ends up biting you in the ass, particularly when you do it like that. Look, yes, you get all the things that you want at LSU, but there are going to be kids that are going to want to be paid. And I hope that Brian Kelly is telling the truth. I hope that Brian Kelly puts a line in the sand. But I got to tell you, that video sounds good right now in May. That video sounds wonderful. Look at us. Yay, rock. Go fight, win. To some people. To other people, it's like, well, you're behind the times. You got to get out of here. Now, the ladder is going to grow louder if he doesn't beat Alabama. The ladder is going to grow really loud if he doesn't get to an SEC championship game or win the SEC or get to the Final Four in the NCAA or whatever the hell you call it tournament. Because that video is going to come back. See, our guy's behind the times. Our guy won't take care of you. That video right now is in the room of Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Mississippi State, Ohio State, anybody that has to recruit against LSU and being spliced up. Hey, look, we're going to do the same for you. We're going to get you drafted at Ohio State. We're going to get you drafted at Alabama. We're going to get you drafted at Georgia. But when you come here, you're going to have $1 million in your pocket. Now, where the hell are you going? Things always sound good in May. Always. Oh, man, I tell you what, this kid, he's not acquiescing to our culture. So he's got to go. Oh, okay. That's great in May. Look at my coach, man. Then all of a sudden you need a big rebound in November, December, January, February, and boy, would you have liked to have had that kid. I always tell my son, and he's in coaching, be careful. Be careful of being the May, April, June hero. Sounds good. And it sounds good right now for Kelly. It does. It sounds really good for Kelly. I'm just telling you. And Kelly can say this, and it's fantastic. But that thing's going to be sliced and diced to make Kelly look like he is behind the times. And if he does not win and does not win big, I'll give you another one. Here's a coach at Boise State. Check this out. Here's a screenshot he put out or was put out for him. We are not, listen to this, Spencer Danielson announced incoming freshmen are banned from taking NIL money their first season. If you're looking for the easy way, you're looking for a handout, don't come to Boise State. I got to tell you, this flies in the face of everything college athletics right now. At least, Brian Kelly didn't ban it. He didn't say you can't have it. He said there are opportunities for it, and we have a great situation for it, but we're not going to buy it. This guy's banning it. It's like when John Thompson was the head coach at Georgetown, he wouldn't let freshmen, particularly Patrick Ewing, talk to the media. You know, there was an educational reason behind it, but it worked for him when he had Patrick Ewing. But in this case, I'm using this against this guy. Hey, look, man, I'm telling you right now, you come here, this ain't no easy way. Nothing easy about this. But I'm going to pay you $100,000, and we're going to bust your ass, and we're going to make you better, and we're going to put you in a position to get drafted, and we're going to play for championships, no different than you would at Boise State, except you're going to have $100,000 in your pocket when you're a freshman. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I told Danny Hurley. Danny Hurley and UConn basketball are at a point where they should charge a cover charge. They should charge a cover. Hey, look, we're going to give you NIL money. But right now, all our NIL money is going to our current players. We'd like you to transfer. We'd like you to come here. And he did. He took a big kid, Reed from Michigan. We want you here. Be great. But you got to pay us $10,000 to come. Nah, you got to put a little skin in the game. You got to pay us $10,000. You can come here. You can be a part of this program that ultimately is going to make you millions, if not tens of millions. You want to do that? Go to Indiana. You want to do that? Go to Providence. But if you come here, I mean, we're the only school in the last 8 bazillion years that's won every NCAA game by double digits 2 years in a row. So don't at me. Don't think that you're going to change our program. And let's make no mistake also about coaches. In this day and age, ain't nobody cares what you're doing for kids unless you're getting them drafted. Ain't nobody cares the money you raise. Ain't nobody cares how much better you make the university. Ain't nobody cares about nothing. Sorry, Mom, I just used it for effect. Ain't. Let me speak the way my mother wants me to speak. There is absolutely nobody on earth that cares whether you graduate kids, other than possibly the kids' parents, but they would rather them go to the NFL. There is absolutely nobody alive that cares that you raise money for the university, that you help the library, that you help the dorm. It doesn't matter. What matters is wins and losses. And if in this era you are hindering yourself from wins and losses, I'm telling you, man, it all sounds good right now. Oh, yeah, Coach, we're showing the NCAA. Yeah, we are, until Utah State kicks your ass. And they got a bunch of players that were bought from somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty simple. Win or go home. That's it. Win, keep coaching. Get an extension. Millions of dollars coming your way. Lose, you're going to be the offensive assistant in charge of analytics at Alabama. It's that simple. Don't hinder yourself, coaches. Don't outsmart the system. The system is what it is, and you ain't beating it. Speaking of system, here's a system for you. Austin Rivers is an idiot. He's not an idiot. Austin Rivers just, he stirred conversation. He was formerly the number 1 player in the country. His daddy, Glenn Doc Rivers, seems like a nice guy. His brother played at Indiana, was a pain in the ass. Austin played a long time in the NBA. Pretty good player. Hit a big shot against North Carolina. And he's pretty good on TV. But Austin Rivers said that he could take 20 guys from the NBA and they could play in the NFL, and no guys from the NFL could play in the NBA, and I would argue half is right. Not one guy in the NFL could play in the NBA. And I would argue that not one guy in the NBA can play in the NFL. Because to play in the NFL means you got to go through a season. You got to go through OTAs. You got to do all the lifting. You got to do all the stuff, the film stuff. Yeah, no. You don't understand NBA players. Now, people see a guy like Brunson and say, well, he could play in the NFL. Look at his body. Yeah, well, no. No. It's one thing to flop when Miles Turner walks by you, like Brunson did last night. It's another thing to get hit by a raging lunatic who's hopped up on roids or whatever else, who's going full speed, and he's pissed off. Yeah, no. It's another thing to get out there in front of and go practice. I know there's not two-a-days anymore, but there's enough. Hell, NBA players don't like to practice a sport where you take a basketball and you put it through a hoop. You think they're going to practice a sport where you're in shells and somebody pops you just because? Not decks you, just pops you. Are you crazy? J.J. Watt wasn't having it. He wasn't having it at all. Dude said, I can take 30 players from the NBA, throw them in the NFL. You can't take 30 NFL players and put them in the NBA. You can't do either. You don't get a job in either right now. Go ahead and try it. You don't got a job in either right now. Go ahead and try it. Yeah. Let's hear from Austin Rivers. Let's hear this comment.
Hey, listen,
Thank
NBA
you.
is a
There we go.
fantastic. Let's not get crazy, though. About 30 guys could go in there.
I mean,
who's coming
I
up?
definitely could.
Anthony Edwards.
we got five max.
We got Anthony Edwards coming over.
Jimmy
Max?
Butler.
Russ.
Oh, you guys are drunk early in the morning.
Russell Westbrook.
No way.
Russell Westbrook.
Zion at left tackle.
Zion would be fantastic.
Yeah.
But then he would just be he'd just be a football player.
Global. We're global. We're global, man. Because football somewhere else is a little bit more important. They call it, you know what I mean? When you go overseas, you talk about football, they think you're talking about real football.
What's that?
Soccer.
You don't believe that.
Leon,
Shut up.
Come on. You don't believe
Yeah,
Come on. There's no way.
That came out of your mouth uncomfortable.
Talk
yeah.
about soft.
Yeah, I don't even want to. You guys flopping with the soccer community enough. I played soccer growing up. Couldn't do it, but Vincenzo last night.
Okay, man.
Middle of the hole.
Yeah, I don't even know what all that means. But here's J.J. Watt. J.J., you don't got a job in either. Mom, that was J.J. Watt, not me. You don't got a job in either right now. Go ahead and try it. The white cornerback, Cooper DeJean, says a lot of NFL players could play in the NBA. Cooper DeJean's an idiot. Yeah, there's not a chance. Honest to God. I saw Puka playing in the Celebrity All-Star game. Micah Parsons, yeah, okay. I saw that. He had no chance. Zero chance. I've said this before, and I'll say this again. When I was in college, there was a good linebacker named Van Waiters. He was really good. He's an All-American. And a really good basketball player. And Van was a year or two younger than me. And when we would play, guys would play. He ended up playing with the Cleveland Browns. I think he was a first-team All-American. But anyway, Van would play with us. And if we played in the Hyper building, which had shorter courts and it was a rec center, he was good. And then one day, we didn't have enough guys. We were playing as a team over at Assembly Hall. And we're like, Van, come on over and play. Couldn't play a lick. Didn't know how to play. Now, if you saw him, like Puka, Micah Parsons, yeah, you'd be like, wow, he can dunk, he can run, he can do that. I've always said this. The biggest babies in sports are basketball players. I've always said. And the toughest guys are football players. Now, here's the deal. Most of the football players you see are little. Like, what's Parsons, 6'6"? I mean, that's little in basketball. So you're telling me Micah Parsons at 6'5", 6'6", whatever he is going to be a point guard in the NBA? That ain't going to happen. It's a stupid argument, particularly from the NFL to the NBA. If you think they can, like this Cooper DeJean, but hey, look, he's the white cornerback, and we're all supposed to pay attention to him because on some highlights he dunked on people. Great. But the fact of the matter is there is no chance either way. Like maybe, let's take a guy like this, Mo Alley Cox. Mo Alley Cox was an okay college basketball player. Went and played professional football. I can see that. You know, Antonio Gates was a great first-team All-American high school football player. Played college basketball. Was really good. Really good. Better than any of these guys could be, but had no chance to play in the NBA as a 6'3" power forward. None, zero zip. And he might be, him and Tony Gonzalez, the best basketball, football player. You know, we had Antoine Randall L., played basketball and football at Indiana. He was a god-awful basketball player. Couldn't play dead. But he was Antoine Randall, and he was a good football player, and he played a little in high school, and we promised the football staff we'd let him play basketball. No, it ain't happening. And I don't need Cooper DeJean in my life. I don't. I don't need Cooper DeJean, who's never played in the NFL yet, in my life telling me that. Because it's just stupid. And I don't like stupid this morning. I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to take my wife to the airport. Couldn't get back to sleep. Started watching an idiotic show on ESPN. 3 people sitting around a table. So I don't need Cooper DeJean because he's a little quick, athletic guy that people think, well, he's a white cornerback, so we got to listen to him now. Like we had to listen to Zach Edey for 2 years. I don't want to listen to Zach Edey anymore. Go away, go to the NBA, play 8 minutes a half, and I don't want to hear from you anymore. I don't like hearing from these. I don't like hearing from these guys. I just don't. Tell you who I like hearing from because I like him. Played against him in college. Have a little bit, not much of a relationship with Rick Carlisle here in Indy, but I ain't mad at Rick Carlisle. Last night, Rick Carlisle, after really underplaying, the atrocities that happened in Game 1, I don't give a damn what the Flying Knicks say. Referees went into Madison Square Garden, lifted a cheek, took a dump on the floor because they didn't have the stones to call the game right in Game 1. Now, in Game 2, well, I got to tell you, if the Pacers couldn't win that game last night, now I'm starting to worry. I did not worry after Game 1, long series, blah, blah, blah. But you got OG Anunoby killing. I mean, killing. And then he goes out and doesn't play the fourth quarter. You got a 7-point lead with Jalen Brunson in the game, and then he goes out. He doesn't play the second quarter. The Pacers are up 10 at half and did it easy. All of a sudden, the text came from one of the Flying Knicks. Brunson's warming up. Uh-oh. Because Brunson right now has everybody in the state of Indiana intimidated, including me. And I don't get intimidated. I'm sorry, but I don't. But I did last night. I'm like, crap. And then I had to make a decision. Do I bet on the Knicks because my guys are telling me he's warming up? No. I took the Pacers. I'm staying with the Pacers. I like my position. And then it happened. The complete implosion. And then it happened. For some reason, 7 minutes to go in the game, T.J. McConnell gets taken out, and he might have been the best player the Pacers had, both ends. And all of a sudden, this Nembhard's trying to guard, and he can't guard a chair. Or he certainly can't guard Jalen Brunson. And Jalen Brunson does Jalen Brunson thing. What is that? Just make every shot down the stretch. And I got to tell you, if you're a coach out there and you're watching this and you want to see the definition of connected, the 3 Villanova guys, Hart, DiVincenzo, and Brunson, are so connected. I lift a cheek. Actually, I don't. Where's my king hat? I would put on my king hat for those 3. And I'm texting Jay Wright today, just call off the Dogs for a game. But I'm telling you, those 3 from Villanova are some bad boys. Well, my boy Carlisle gets ejected. I ain't mad at you getting ejected. He got pissed. Double dribble. Said it was an inadvertent whistle. Wait a second. It wasn't an inadvertent whistle because not only did you blow the whistle, you made the signal for double dribble, and then you pointed the other way. That ain't inadvertent. Now, I get it. It was a wrong call. I get it. Don't get me wrong. It was a wrong call. And they got the call right, but it's not reviewable. It's the same thing the other night where they called another reach in or kick ball, and it wasn't a kick ball. Next thing you know, a 3-game change. Again, I don't care, and I don't think the referees are killing the Pacers. I just think they're showing their ineptness. But Carlisle does. Carlisle, who undersold after Game 1 when I thought he should have been going bat blank crazy, well, he had something to say after the game. Here's Rick Carlisle.
You know, I'm always talking to our guys about not making it about the officials, but you know, we deserve a fair shot, you know, and it's just not there's not a consistent balance, and that's disappointing. You know, small market teams deserve an equal shot. They deserve a fair shot, no matter where they're playing.
Yeah, Rick. That's right, Nick and Nick. Take all your money, all your savings, all your earnings, and put it on the Pacers. That's right. Game 3. First off, I'm going to be there, so there will be celebrities in the house. If I'm there, it'll be big. It'll be real big. That's right. That's right. But anyway, the referees are going to swing our way. This is old school. This is Jeff Van Gundy, Pat Riley, Phil Jackson going back and forth, trying to get the edge. Carlisle kept it classy, yo. He did. He kept it classy. After game 1, when he could have gone bat blank crazy, but he didn't, he kept it classy. All right. Enough is enough now. We understand Spike Lee's sitting over there. Ben Stiller? What do we care about Ben Stiller? Nah, I don't know. Chris Rock's over there. We get it. You're a little intimidated. The environment. Nick and Nick are in the house. I understand. But that's over. You're in Indiana now. We might have Mellencamp sitting there. You don't know. You might have Mike Epps sitting there. You don't know. Dakich will be in the house. That's right. So keep your ass up. Oops, I don't mean to swear anymore. Keep your backside clean, referees. But let's get to the bigger issue. I don't know what the heck to do about Jalen Brunson. I don't know. One time they had Obi Toppin on him, and he did a good job in length, made him miss. Now, Toppin can't move his feet enough. Everybody said McConnell did the best job. Maybe he did. I think that's a little biased because, well, all he did was blank off Jalen Brunson, and Jalen Brunson went and got 3-point plays and let everybody know. I got to tell you, it was nice to see Jalen Brunson lose his ever-loving mind, get pissed off. I thought that was great. But I'll tell you this much. Hey, man, Ray Charles can see very clearly Andrew Nembhard ain't the guy. See, here's the deal. When you're a white basketball player and you're playing against black guys, they size you up and they get confident and they think they can whoop you. They do. Well, I used to tell players, hey, man, he thinks you're just a little white guy. You better play a little bit because he's going to get comfortable. Well, that's Nembhard. Even though he's not white, that's Nembhard for us, for Brunson. It's like, wait, you're on me? No. It's like Larry Bird famously said, you can't have a white guy guard me. What are you doing? I'll go for 100. Well, I guarantee you Brunson's telling his boys, you can't have Nembhard guard me. Or probably telling them also, you can't have McConnell guard me either because he's been that good. You know, famously, a few years ago, Chris Carter at a rookie symposium, Chris Carter, very good, all-pro, wide receiver. All he does is catch touchdowns. At a rookie symposium, told a bunch of NFL rookies, hey, look, man, here's the deal. You got to have a fall guy. You got to have a guy in the group that's willing to go to jail for you, take the rap. Now, I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know which way we're going here, but Shohei Ohtani's former interpreter, best friend, Ippei Mizuhara, has agreed to a plea deal to federal charges that he illegally, listen to this, transferred $17 million from the athlete's bank account without Ohtani's knowledge to pay off his own gambling debts. And you know what's interesting? Scott Van Pelt said this morning when I was watching. Nobody's even questioning this. Like, no one's even saying anything. Like, isn't there more to this? Here's the deal. Mizuhara will plead guilty to 1 count of bank fraud, 1 count of subscribing to a false tax return. The U.S. Justice Department announced the bank fraud charge carries a maximum 30 years federal prison. False tax charge carries a sentence up to 3 years in federal prison. Wow. Mizuhara, who had a gambling problem, will enter his plea deal in the coming weeks and is set to be arraigned May 14th. The extent of this defendant's deception and theft is massive, U.S. District Attorney Martin Estrada said in a statement. He took advantage of his position of trust to take advantage of Mr. Ohtani and fuel a dangerous gambling habit. Wow. How about that? Man, maybe he's not a fall guy. I don't know, but I know this. Nobody's talking. See, there's real value. Now, this is ironic coming from a guy who spends 5 hours a day by himself talking to nobody. I mean, if you really think about it, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm looking at the camera, and I'm really not talking to anybody. I assume I'm talking to you all out there, and I try to act like I am, but, you know, really, there's nobody around. I'm just sitting here chatting. So as somebody that does that, it's ironic that I'm going to say, do you see the value in not talking? You just shut up. We call it in the joint, you just clam up. That's from the 50s. Hey, clam up, will ya? You just clam up. Ohtani, he don't say nothing. I mean, he don't say a damn word. He's like that guy, Sammy Sosa, when he got in front of Congress, all of a sudden couldn't speak English, but he was doing commercials in Chicago in English. There's a value in that. There's a big value. That's why they say if you ever get arrested, just shut up. Don't say a word. Well, that's what Ohtani's doing. And he's so big that no one's asking him any questions. No one's asking. Come on. You didn't know? No English. Okay. There's value. I try to tell you. There's value. Eric Adams is the mayor of New York. And Eric Adams, by all account, has done about as bad a job of being a mayor as you can possibly do. He's a racist. He has no problem putting the Democratic liberal agenda of treating illegal immigrants better than your own citizens. He has no problem with that because he wants votes. But now, wait a second, I got to put my headset back in. Listen to what Eric Adams said about Rikers Island and Donald Trump. Listen to this.
Hey, Mayor. So at President Trump's trial, they were talking about how he might end up in jail if he continues to violate these court orders. Is Rikers prepared for that? Do you guys have those discussions yet? And if so, what would that even look like?
Our amazing commissioner, she is prepared for whatever comes on Rikers Island. I'm pretty sure she would be prepared to manage and deal with the situation. As you see what's happening with Harvey Weinstein. We have to adjust, in this business, particularly around law enforcement, we have to adjust whatever comes our way, but, we don't want to deal with a hypothetical, but they're professionals, they'll be ready.
Corrections yet? I'm sorry? You haven't had those discussions with corrections about that situation?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. There you go. So it begins. Everybody, Rikers Island's ready. Donald Trump purportedly, look, Donald Trump had a good week. He had a good week in Georgia. He's had a good week. But I don't know how you beat 91 or 88 felonies. I don't know how you do that, but hope he does. Hope he does, and hope the mayor, like many mayors before him, like many governors before him, ends his ass up in Rikers Island.